You know a man named Cunningham?
Aye.
He's coming for you.
I'm afraid the battle has begun.
There's only one way I can see to stop it.
Your husband is a pardoned traitor.
Jamie, don't punish Brianna and Roger because you're angry about John.
Husband is a pardoned traitor.
Now, I don't like it
He has
either.
earned his execution.
Don't go.
We have a plan.
Plans fail.
I think it will be an evil night. If Cunningham is forming a militia, we need to be ready.
Scottish fellow. And when he heard I was from Frasers Ridge,
Now, I don't like it
mentioned-
either. But they've obviously thought it through.
They're not going.
he mentioned he was heading there himself.
Jamie's forming a militia. You have a
They don't need your permission.
They asked for it, did they not?
militia.
They ask for your blessing and your help.
very fine home. Must feel very empty. You here all alone?
The final curtain is falling on the Highlands and the colonies, and the air at Frasers Ridge has never felt this heavy with the scent of gunpowder and betrayal. We are officially in the end game of Outlander, and as Season 8, Episode 5 approaches, the title Send for the Devil tells us exactly what's coming. Jamie Fraser is finally being forced to face the demons he's been outrunning for decades. From the bloody streets of Savannah to the quiet, deceptive tension of a whiskey pour at the Ridge, the stakes have shifted from winning a war to simply surviving the night. If you thought the Frasers were safe just because they have a home again, the new trailer is here to prove that the most dangerous enemies aren't the ones on the battlefield. They're the ones standing right in your parlor. It is always a bittersweet week when a new Outlander episode drops, especially now that every Tuesday brings us one step closer to the definitive end of the Frasers' journey. The tension is reaching a breaking point, and honestly, the best part of the previous episode had to be the sudden return of Buck MacKenzie. Having him show up exactly when the family is spread thin across the colonies feels like a gift from the stones themselves. But while Buck is a welcome sight, the situation for the rest of our favorites is looking grim. Episode 5, titled Send for the Devil, takes us directly into the heart of the Siege of Savannah, and the official synopsis confirms our worst fears. Brianna and Roger are going to find themselves on opposite sides of a brutal conflict. In the last episode, we saw them travel to Philadelphia with the simple hope of securing weapons to protect their family. But history is a shadow that follows Jamie Fraser everywhere. The Patriots haven't forgotten his past actions or his complicated loyalties, and they've effectively held Roger hostage. Fearing he might flip back to the British side, they've forced him to stay and fight. This puts Bree in an impossible position, waiting in the lion's den with Lord John Grey and William, while her husband is out in the trenches with the men who distrust him most. The trailer for Episode 5 gives us a haunting look at the aftermath of this clash. We see William declaring that the battle has begun, and the look of pure terror on Brianna's face says it all. For a moment, watching the teaser, I was convinced we were about to lose Roger. The camera pans over a field littered with the fallen, a sight that usually signals the end of a character's story. However, there is a figure in black moving among the dead, a minister. Looking closely, it's clear this is our Roger. He hasn't just survived, he's found his true calling amidst the horror, acting as a beacon of peace on a field of war. It's a powerful image, but it leaves us wondering, how much can a man's soul take before it breaks? Roger is a man of peace, but the American Revolution is a machine that grinds peace into dust. Do you think Roger will make it back to Bree physically whole, or will the trauma of what he sees on that battlefield change him into someone she no longer recognizes? The physical distance between them is one thing, but the emotional gap created by this war might be even harder to bridge. As we watch these two navigate the chaos of Savannah, we have to remember that they are essentially playing a high-stakes game of pretend. Bree is acting the part of a loyalist guest, while her heart is with a rebel volunteer. If William or Lord John find out the true extent of Roger's involvement with the Continental Army, the fragile safety Bree has found will vanish. This episode feels like a turning point for the MacKenzies, moving them away from the safety of the Ridge and throwing them into the deep end of historical destiny. The devil mentioned in the title might not just be a person, it might be the war itself, demanding a sacrifice from a family that has already given so much to time. While the war thunders in the south, a much more personal and silent danger is creeping up the hills of Frasers Ridge. The tension between Jamie and Charles Cunningham has finally reached a boiling point, and the trailer makes it clear that the neighborly mask is about to slip off for good. For weeks, we've watched Jamie play a dangerous game of cat and mouse, stalling Charles's demands to join the royalist militia, while secretly building his own force to protect his people. But Charles isn't a fool. He knows Jamie is a leader of men, and he knows that if Jamie isn't with him, he is a massive threat to the crown. In the latest footage, the atmosphere at the Ridge feels suffocating. We see the man whose baby Claire saved back in episode 3, a moment that felt like a simple act of kindness, returning to deliver a chilling warning. He tells Jamie that Charles is no longer asking, he is coming for him. This shifts the stakes from political pressure to a direct hunt, and it puts the Frasers in a position where their own home is no longer a sanctuary, but a cage. The most unsettling part of this upcoming episode is how the threat moves from the woods into the house. In the trailer, we see Elspeth, Charles's mother, confronting Claire with a coldness that is absolutely terrifying. She calls Jamie a traitor and says he has earned his execution. This isn't just a political disagreement anymore, it's a blood feud. Up until now, Charles has been playing the part of a polite gentleman to get what he wants, but now that his mother is involved and the truth about Jamie's secret militia is likely leaking out, the niceties are over. Think back to episode 4, where Charles visited Claire while Jamie was away. The way he mentioned she was all alone in that big house wasn't just small talk, it was a threat. He was testing the perimeter, seeing how vulnerable they were. Now, in episode 5, it seems he's ready to strike when Jamie is at his most exposed, specifically during a lodge night, where the community is supposed to be gathered in fellowship. What makes this section of the story so unique is the presence of Buck MacKenzie. With Roger and Bree gone, the Frasers are short on allies they can actually trust with their lives. Buck has a big, soft heart, as we've seen, but he also has the MacKenzie fire and the grit of a man who has survived things most people can't imagine. He is the wild card that Charles Cunningham didn't account for. Whether Buck stays back to guard Claire while Elspeth tries to distract her, or stands shoulder to shoulder with Jamie at the lodge, his presence changes the math of the entire conflict. Jamie has spent his life protecting others, but send for the devil might be the moment where he has to rely on a man from the future to survive a trap from the past. The water isn't just boiling anymore. It's overflowing, and the Frasers are going to have to fight through the steam to keep their family from being torn apart by their own neighbors. This is the moment where we have to step behind the curtain of the show and look at the blueprints laid out in the original books. So if you want to go into episode 5 completely blind, now is your chance to skip ahead about 30 seconds. For those of you staying, the lodge night mentioned in the synopsis is the key to everything. In the source material, this isn't just a social gathering. It is a carefully calculated assassination plot. Charles Cunningham isn't just a disgruntled neighbor. He has made a dark deal with the local natives to have Jamie eliminated during what is supposed to be a peaceful night of community business. The brilliance of this trap is that it catches Jamie when he is trying to be a leader, not a soldier. However, Jamie Fraser has a sixth sense for betrayal, and thanks to a timely warning, he doesn't walk into that room as a victim. He walks in as a predator. The trailer hints at this explosive tension, showing Jamie confronting his demons, which I believe is a metaphor for the physical fight for his life he is about to endure. By the time the sun comes up, the power dynamic on the ridge will be forever changed, and the blood spilled at the lodge will mark the end of any hope for peace between the Frasers and the royalists. While Jamie is fighting for his survival at the lodge, the trailer shows us a much quieter but equally terrifying scene back at the main house. Elspeth, Charles's mother, visits Claire, and they share a glass of whiskey together. On the surface, it looks like two women of the Ridge finding common ground, but there is a jagged edge to their conversation. Elspeth is there for one reason: to keep Claire distracted and pinned down so she cannot go to Jamie's aid or find out what the militia is doing. It is a psychological chess match where every sip of whiskey is a ticking second on a bomb. Elspeth's cold declaration that Jamie is a traitor suggests she already thinks he is a dead man. Imagine the chill Claire must feel, sitting across from a woman who knows her husband is currently being hunted. The devil in this episode's title feels very much like the Cunningham family using hospitality as a weapon. The climax of this arc in the books is one of the most intense scenes in the entire series, and I truly hope the show keeps it exactly as written. Picture the scene. Claire is trying to maintain her composure with Elspeth when the door swings open and Jamie walks in, covered in the dust of battle, carrying a fatally wounded Charles Cunningham. It is a moment of pure poetic justice. Jamie doesn't just survive the trap, he brings the architect of that trap back to his own hearth for Claire to try and save. This creates a massive moral dilemma for our favorite healer. Does she save the man who just tried to murder her husband? And how will Elspeth react when she realizes her distraction failed and her son is the one paying the price? If the show follows this path, episode 5 will be an emotional roller coaster that leaves us breathless. It's a reminder that in the world of Outlander, the most dangerous battles aren't fought with cannons on a field, but with words over a drink and blades in the dark of a meeting hall. While the older generation fights for the Ridge, the younger Frasers are embarking on a journey that could redefine their entire future. Ian and Rachel's story in Send for the Devil is a beautiful but heartbreaking contrast to the violence in Savannah. Rachel is truly proving herself to be one of the most selfless characters in the series. After seeing news of the Patriot raids on northern villages, she doesn't just offer sympathy. She encourages Ian to go and find his ex-wife Emily and their son. Most people in her position, especially with a newborn baby at home, would be consumed by jealousy or fear. Instead, Rachel chooses compassion. This journey up north isn't just about a rescue, it's a test of their new marriage. Whether they find that Emily's family has survived, or they arrive to find ashes, the act of going shows that Ian has finally found a partner who understands his soul. This plotline is unique because it moves away from the politics of the war and focuses on the human cost of the raids. The families torn apart who aren't even holding a musket. At the same time, we have to look at the fascinating shift happening with William and Amaranthus. William has spent most of this season in a state of total identity collapse, learning that Lord John isn't his biological father and that he is the son of a rebel, like Jamie has left him feeling like he belongs nowhere. However, his interaction with Amaranthus is changing that. Unlike the high society women of his past, Amaranthus doesn't care about his titles or his complicated bloodline. When she learned the truth about his parentage from a jealous Brianna, she didn't recoil, she offered him acceptance. This is exactly what William needs to heal. In the upcoming scenes, I believe we are going to see a softer William. Seeing Brianna, his secret sister, might be the bridge he needs to finally stop fighting his past. If William can bury the hatchet with his fathers and accept both the Earl and the Highlander within him, he becomes a much more dangerous and capable man. As we wrap up this look at episode 5, the big question remains: who will be left standing when the smoke clears? Between Ian's search for his past, William's search for his future, and Jamie's fight for his present, every character is standing on a knife's edge. Send for the Devil is clearly an episode about consequences. The consequences of secrets, the consequences of war, and the consequences of love. Please let me know in the comments what you think will happen to Ian's son, and if you think William is finally ready to join the Fraser family for real. Make sure to mark your book spoilers clearly so we don't ruin the surprise for anyone else. Once you've shared your theories, be sure to click the next video on the screen to stay caught up with everything happening in the world of Outlander.